Guinea pigs are people too, Sonic. It's not all about hedgehogs and foxes in this world. Boo-hoo, your parents never loved you. It's a kink, bro. It's a kink. I mean, it is what it is. Holy shit, bro. Jules also just a fucking idiot. Where did this fire start at? How did it get across the chasm like that? Y'all are here having a girl squad glamour shot while the entire forest is on fire. Hiding something from Tangle there, Jewel? Something you're happy about being able to hide from her? This is actually so crazy to see that this is who the restoration is supposed to be following.
Eggman Empire. Authorization approved. Access granted.
What is happening, shorties and tallies? My name is KotyTang. We're back with another exciting IDW comic video, and back to the writing of Evan Stanley for this one. As a disclaimer for anybody new, this is my first time going through the IDW series, so please avoid discussing spoilers in the comments below. With that said, let's get into some comics. Issue 45. We start this issue off at the beginning of a road trip, baby! With Amy stopping by Tails' place to get some supplies for the adventure. Tails uses Amy to get some more on-hands research of his tech. Sonic helps Amy fill her car, and after he delivers some casual racism against guinea pigs, Sonic contemplates going on the trip with Amy. But Tails wants to play Age of Empires? So Sonic can't go. Yeah, I could see that. Tails is probably an RTS legend. Now we see that this road trip isn't just any kind of road trip. It's a road trip for the girls. Without Whisper, though. As we learn, Whisper has defected from the restoration. She unfortunately left just before this trip even started. Remembering this suddenly puts Tangle in a very displayable sour mood. Even though a bit ago she was enthusiastic and even forced Jewel to come with, but thinking of Whisper just ended up hurting her. Because that's her buddy, and now she's down one buddy. Amy is determined to make this night out a blast for everybody. But then the camp is overcrowded. It's revealed that this location may have been one of the best campsites, but as it turns out, thanks to the metal virus, there are some new rules to follow as the woods are very, very dry. Which means it's the perfect time for the park ranger to have a kid that owns a fire wisp and bring him to work with him. You know how it goes. When you gotta bring your kid to work, you have to also bring his flamethrower along with him. The girls are eventually able to set up camp in their designated site and realize there are no matches in their bags. But Amy does find a bunch of, bells and whistles? Bitch, that's a fishing reel. No worries on the matches though, because Belle has a pinky lighter. So that'll do for whatever they need. Later into the night, Amy plays fortune cards with the girls, but they just get progressively more and more sad as they continue to play, as every girl has something negative on their minds. And on top of that, Amy so obviously prevents Belle from reading her disastrous fortune card, ruining the entire game for everybody, so they just go to bed instead. Because Amy is not only a terrible leader, but also host. Belle is unable to sleep, so she heads out into the woods, only to be jump scared by a motobug that just, kind of leaves her laying there with her pinky lighter out, which Belle was using to see in the dark. Because Belle was, I guess, never given any form of night vision? Amy is awoken by the smell of a fire, and quickly realizes that a huge chunk of the forest is ablaze. Tangle and Jewel get up to see the impending doom, and they all decide to head straight for the main camp. It's pure chaos up in this bitch, as even the park ranger can't find his son, so he isn't directing anybody. Tangle opts to go into the forest and find the kid, while Amy and Jewel stay back to start helping everybody to safety. Okay, so I don't usually talk about the covers. I just wanted to point out that this cover is a lie. It's false advertising. They don't drive a van, they drive Amy's car. I'll be sending my complaints directly to Sega themselves. I love the fact that Tails is just using Amy as a tester for his prototypes. God only knows what sort of things Tails has packed into whatever equipment he just gave to Amy. Speaking of Tails making things, I do have to wonder how exactly Tails acquired this piece of land in Central City. The housing market must be crazy out there. It is a small plot of land, but even so, what does a giant fox head do to the value of properties around it? Everybody else's house in this neighborhood is just a regular house. What does the HOA have to say about this thing being here? And how come my house can't be a fox head? Can I also note how Tails brands all of his things like Eggman? I don't even know if that works the same. It's not like Tails is the only fox in this world. Eggman has like a really unique branding. You can't mistake that for anybody else. He does sometimes put just his two tails on things. That's much better branding. When that little boy grows up, he's gonna have an empire of his own. I mean, I guess he could already, considering he absolutely is smarter than Eggman in every single way in this comic. He just never follows through on any of his grander designs for whatever reason. Maybe Tails should create a little mechanical buddy for himself. Forget about Sonic, make your own friends. These robots are basically people already anyway, just like Belle, except we don't want Belle to stick around for that long. You know, people say that Sonic doesn't have a home, but people also say that Sonic would usually crash at Tails' mini workshops. If we consider all of those Tails' homes, then doesn't Sonic also have mini homes? Just something to think about. Oh yeah, and can we talk about how Sonic delivers some casual racism, as he implies that guinea pigs are test subjects. Guinea pigs are people too, Sonic. It's not all about hedgehogs and foxes in this world. Maybe I actually should start pointing out all the racism that be popping up. Also, why is Sonic shoving all of this stuff in the trunk? He's gonna break it. Whisper has left the building. But, you know, I don't blame Whisper for leaving the restoration at all here. After seeing the absolute dookie grade defenses that the restoration is pulling out, I would leave too. Jewel's contingency plan for the Deadly Six was hope the major heroes like Sonic eventually get there or head them off somewhere. And also, hire only 2 guards for the entire base to utilize, while she hides away in the control room. Meanwhile, everybody in the lobby is dying. Clearly, Whisper doesn't trust these guys to defend themselves anymore, and if Mimic ever did arrive, multiple people would probably just die right there. Mimic would be extorting people trying to find out where Whisper is, and he would just morph into them to do it to the next person. Then he would just kill them until he finally finds Whisper. Those terrible defenses was all that she and I needed to see. Good on you, Whisper. You're saving more lives than Sonic and the entire restoration combined by simply leaving. So we see Jewel getting pulled away from her, work? And I'm sorry, what work does Jewel even do? It better be her spending hours creating a new defense. Well, to be honest, if it's anything significant at all, you already know it's failed before she even wrote the word "the." Speaking of the hell are you still sad about, Belle? Eggman's evil! This is your new life! That's right, watching a bunch of sweaty, greasy dudes work on cars and bikes that we never see in universe because there's only 2 roads in this entire comic. So hop to it, Wagey. Nobody's gonna feel bad for you. We all gotta work to survive. Welcome to adulthood. Boo-hoo, your parents never loved you. Look at this dude's son! Why would you buy your little boy that wisp?
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
What are you doing, Smokey the Bear? Only you can prevent forest fires, but you're the one causing them? You told that boy he could have any wisp he wanted at the pet store, and you let him get the one that puts your entire career at jeopardy? I have no sympathy for you, my guy. Also, what the fuck? The wisps are pets now? I thought they were people too! So they are enslaved by Sonic and his friends then? So the hundreds of Wispons and these warehouses of wisps really are where they're forced to stay forever? Do aliens have their own human resources center? I'm about to give these wisps my number. Come back to the Eggman Empire, guys. We'll take good care of you. There's a part where Tangle whacks Jewel with a pole, and I don't believe that this was an accident. Tangle purposely hit Jewel here. As you can see, the tense holding mechanism was clearly in nunchuck mode. In order for Tangle to act like she wasn't hearing Jules' direction and hit her like this, she would have had to already put the thing into bricked up mode and intentionally whip her with the rod. But that's okay, because somehow, Jewel manages to pile Tangle underneath the tent, getting her completely stuck inside, and suffocating her. So, clearly, there was some sort of epic battle that we'll just never see. Jewel's one moment of epic combat. Tangle being so closed off to Jewel about Whisper is pretty out of character for her. Not in a bad way though, but every time we've seen Tangle, she's been very open about her feelings and what's going on around her. So, to see her so closed off is different. Whisper leaving infected Tangle in multiple ways. Now, in the future, this could come off as a contrived way to get Jewel and Tangle to drift apart, but there must be some deeper narrative between Tangle, Jewel, and Whisper that we're just not seeing yet. So, I'm interested to see where this goes. Whisper really needs some action at some point. Please give her something. I find it pretty goofy that fortune-telling would be seen as such a far-fetched thing even in Sonic's world, where we have literal Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emerald, gods splitting the world apart, gods coming back to life and flooding entire cities, fire cats, a guy who can run at speeds impossible to even see him at, teleportation, warp topazes, monster-like beings that live on a mini-planet in Earth's sky that can control anything mechanical with the flick of a finger, Jewel's best friend has a magical stretchy tail, Whisper walks around with aliens that power her gun, and so much more. It's just goofy that Jewel would think that fortune-telling is where we should draw the line. This is likely just a real-world critique that Evan wanted to throw in the comic, but canonically, this is an out-of-place critique. Jewel's also just a f***ing idiot, so should I really be surprised that this is coming out of her mouth? Jewel is like a character pulled out of the real world turned into a bug, basically. Even further with this fortune-telling idea, why would Amy want to play this game knowing that not every card is going to be a good card, and then be surprised when somebody gets a messed up card? Amy, what the hell? You know what? Since Amy gets to make a bunch of predictions, I also get to make some predictions. First is the Master card being given to Jewel. Just like Amy says, this is in relation to her role as the director. Assumingly, she's going to master her ability and become a better leader over time, eventually placing the restoration where it needs to be. And when she can master her role, she'll definitively be the best leader, right? Tangle is given the Chow Fruit card. Amy states that it may symbolize a moral dilemma, a partnership, or even a showdown. I'm gonna go wild card and say it's all three. A showdown with Mimic, the moral dilemma of killing him or not with the consequences that follow each action, and a permanent team up with Whisper going forward. Finally, Belle is given the "Hey, yo!" See, that's what I'm talking about! It's pretty messed up for Amy to just change the card she chose right in front of Belle's face. Amy couldn't even act calm in the situation, like, oh, I'm just rearranging the cards again. Although, I do think the fire symbolizes a bit more than the card would have shown anyway. Belle's fate is about to be dragged through the fire, meaning something wild and out of her control. Amy also gives Belle a different card, one of mercy and protection. I predict that maybe through Belle's innocence and kind art, she's going to pull herself out of whatever wild event is going to happen to her. Now that could all be a stretch, but I do like the fire idea. Also, Jewel as well delivers some casual racism, talking about night owls that way. But more importantly, what's with Jewel's face when Tangle is being skeptical about Amy's card choice? The focus is deliberate. Wait, Jewel. No, you didn't. Girl, you did not, did you? What did you say to Whisper? I know her leaving has got to be your fault. Can I just say that whoever carved out this Sonic head into this bush is quite the artist. Although it was immediately ruined by the Motobug attacking Belle, and now the forest is on fire. And it's probably all because of Belle's weird pinky lighter. Seriously though, this forest fire was foreshadowed like crazy in this issue. First, the bear says that everything is dry, then his kid comes with a fire wisp, burning the map of the campgrounds, and then the park ranger warns his son to not have even brought the wisp. The girls have no matches, so they have to dangerously use Belle's pinky lighter, a thing that even makes Belle nervous about how she's made of wood and can catch on fire. Tangle's marshmallows catch on fire, and finally, Amy throws Belle's card into a fire, which makes Belle the last character to have contact with a fire, and Belle has to light her pinky to see in the dark where she's all alone, and she's the last character we see before, well, the forest catches on fire. A whole lot of foreshadowing went on here up until the very moment. It was actually really hard to ignore, and I called this event extra early. Chill with the obvious tells, Evan. Issue 46. Belle awakens a while after witnessing the woods around her engulfed into flames with two shadowy figures. Oh! My heart just skipped a beat. The hell was that? I guess these two don't notice Belle or the Motobug, or they just don't care, as they're magically just gone in the next panel. The Motobug that jump scared Belle earlier turns out to be a friendly Motobug, and helps put the fire out on Belle's hand. Tangle eventually finds Belle and the Motobug, and after Tangle wraps Belle's exposed mechanical hand, Tangle, Belle, and the Motobug go on an adventure to find Ash, the park ranger's son with the totally wacky fire wisp. Belle does try to tell Tangle that she thinks she's the one who set the forest on fire, but Tangle doesn't let her speak on that. Meanwhile, Amy and Belle make a plan to calm all of the campers down and make way for evacuation. It does take some forceful convincing by Amy to get Jules' brain moving properly, and actually devising a plan. Amy was also not ready to have a plan herself, interestingly enough. Amy just threw all responsibility onto Jewel without warning, like the bitch she is. But if anybody else did this to Jewel, I would have to agree with him because they just assume that Jewel should already know what she's doing, while Amy is fully aware that Jewel is incompetent. While those two are busy with that, Tangle and Belle manage to find Ash and are able to do a action movie style leap over this wide chasm, with proper use of teamwork among the three of them. Although, couldn't Belle just pull her own tail? I don't know why she has to have somebody else do it for her. It's a kink, bro. It's a kink. I mean, it is what it is. She really like when people pull her tail. It's just like Tangle. They successfully reach Ash and calm him down thanks to Belle's goofy ass nose. Belle then attempts to intimidate Tangle, who was laughing at her after that honkin' ass nose. Ash explains to Tangle and Belle that he saw a spiky-haired woman. Oh! My heart just skipped another beat. What the hell's going on with me today? And a boy his size set the forest on fire with the woman's ability to control lightning with her hands. Belle realizes that she, in fact, did not start the fire. Wait, how the hell did Ash get over here then, if he was right by where Belle was? What? Where did this fire start at? How did it get across the chasm like that? Anyway, Belle feels better about herself at least. There's probably a few dozen dead animal critters, but at least Belle's happy. As the five of them walk back, a tree gives way, knocking most of them over the edge, and after a struggle to get back up from the cliff, they then manage to begin plummeting down into the rapids below. Man, this wisp ain't helping shit. What the hell is going on with this cover? Y'all are here having a girl squad glamour shot while the entire forest is on fire. And they're a group of girls, so you already know this one took multiple shots to get it just right. And Amy is definitely the one to say, no, we gotta retake this one. I look terrible in this. You know what makes a ton of sense, but at the same time, I don't know. I just always considered Belle a Pinocchio type character. To see that she actually does have a robotic skeleton is just very weird to me. I never once considered the fact that her wooden structure was an added layer. But again, it makes perfect sense. I wonder how she feels about seeing her hand that way. Was she even aware that underneath the adorable design, she truly is just another badnik? I actually kind of want IDW to bring that up again later on and explore that. We get a moment of this old man yelling at the park ranger. Look, bro, this old man is tripping. If my kid or somebody I loved was out there in the woods and some nigga came up to me talking about some, I can't open the gates, Boy, when I tell you I'm gonna be climbing over that shit so fast, you ain't locking my ass in here. Fuck a gate. And if I gotta drive through the gates to get away from this fire, you ain't just gonna let me die here while you also freak out. Either get me in the control room or I'm ramming the gate. Look, all I'm saying is, me personally, I wouldn't let that slide. I don't like this scene with Jewel and Amy at all. This is actually so crazy to see that this is who the Restoration is supposed to be following. Jewel, the cowardly dung beetle, is our savior in these trying times. A woman who has absolutely zero confidence in every single thing she's ever done. This is supposed to be a pretty significant moment for Jewel's character even. It's not fun to watch Jewel force herself into this leadership position as the character she is. She clearly has no desire to lead jack shit, so I don't know why she even volunteered herself at all. As I said in my Full Metal Virus review, Jewel is a completely wasted character slot. IDW should have designed somebody ready to take charge, even if it's in a flawed way that the heroes don't vibe with. I said it before and I'll say it again. Realistically, not one single character would be okay with Jewel taking control of the Restoration. I don't even know if I could say that Tangle would be in support of this decision. Instead of creating a character capable to lead the Restoration and creating believable drama, we got somebody so incompetent that she's literally on the verge of tears at the very thought of even having to take charge. Jewel is one of the worst characters to choose for this role. I don't even understand the thought process of what she thought was going to happen to her. The Restoration needs somebody else to take charge. Jewel has the plans, but she's lacking every ounce of confidence that would get people to even want to listen to her. These campgoers just watched her damn near bawl her eyes out because she didn't know what to do. Realistically, this is a morale hit that you simply would not recover from in the eyes of all of these people in such a life-threatening and helpless situation. Jewel would be better as a behind-the-scenes planner rather than the face of the Restoration. We're kind of introduced to some new faces of IDW. A woman that controls lightning with her hands, and then a Sonic EXE looking little dude. Of course, this is an exaggerated interpretation of these two by the kid, and I bet they're wonderful people. Them starting a fire in the forest was obviously an accident, guys. Maybe the girl just doesn't know how to use her powers properly yet, I do have to wonder just what the purpose would be of these two starting the fire at the campsite. Maybe they aim to take out Amy and not have anybody know that they did it. But if the plot was to kill her, they kind of got it right. Although if they knew that she was there at all, honestly, all of these heroes would fall for a completely new face and would be vulnerable to just flat out killing them since they aren't very defensive people upon first meetings. Then again, maybe they just wanted to start a fire and that's the extent of the plan. Also, why did they just leave Belle laying on the ground like that? Did they think she was dead or something? Or what about the Motobug just standing by her? Belle even starts talking and then the two just magically disappear in the next scene. If I were to give a more charitable interpretation of this scene, is it that Belle lost consciousness and then woke up a panel later? It's unclear what the timeline is here, as Belle is just instantly sitting up on the next page. I'm pretty sure that's what they were trying to show. Belle lost consciousness again and then got dragged away by the Motobug. But my god, was that terribly conveyed. Issue 47. Somehow, everybody safely lands onto the raging rapids without a single injury, and they use the collapsed tree as a boat to guide themselves through the river. At least Tangle's having the time of her life, but Belle has to comfort little Ash, who is understandably freaking the fuck out after what just happened to them and where they currently ended up. The five eventually make it back to camp and meet up with Amy and Jewel. I like how Amy was wearing a mask and then it just magically disappears after she pulls it down. Ash reunites with his dad, but the war against the raging flames isn't over just yet. Amy and Jewel acquaint themselves with the friendly Motobug, with Amy even calling it cute. Really, Amy? Eggman made a cute robot? I mean, I guess it's aight. Jewel rightfully claims that the forest is cooked from here on out, but Amy refuses to leave and wants to keep fighting the fire. So of course the ladies all team up, and Jewel even says she has a plan, after just claiming the forest was done for. The team create a dam to stop the water from flowing in and allow it to build up in one large area. Meanwhile, Belle, I guess, goes around rescuing everybody on the Motobug? Nah, bro. Belle did not grab that man's hand from that distance. That boy died. This is Belle's inner hero rewriting the scene for her mind's sanity here. This dude canonically got swept away and is dead. When the dam is finally ready and filled with water, Amy breaks the tumbled tree apart in order to let all the water flow around the campsite. The plan is basically that the whole camp, and assumedly much of the area, will be too wet from the splashing water for the fire to spread properly, allowing everybody to go home safe without worrying too much. Sure. I mean, it works out. Why not? At some point, the cast of Sonic should, go on a spree, finding random elemental characters that can do random stuff like this. Now that the day is saved, Tangle takes this opportunity of everybody praising each other's hard work to be inappropriate and say that she's quitting the restoration. Jewel does accept her resignation with tears in her eyes, but that's okay, because when we see Tangle later, it turns out that she's backtracked on this, and they're working it out. But she's still gonna go see what Whisper's been up to. Somehow she'll find her. Any second. Also, Tails likes the fact that the Motobug is a good guy, and wonders if even more robots can be turned good, which Belle likes the idea of too. Meanwhile, back at the camp, we see Smokey here checking out the damages, managing to find the origin of the first crack of lightning from the mysterious group, and holy shit, bro! Scorched earth much? What the fuck were these two doing in that forest? Subscribe to KotyTang, you son of a bitch! That's right, I'm talking to you! This isn't a free service, you're taking up valuable Eggman Empire time! And don't forget to leave a comment below as well! This is a demand, not a plea! The cost of one view is a comment, a like, and a subscribe. And after you leave a comment, I'm gonna reply to it. And you might not like what I have to say to you. Anyway, back to the video, guys. Belle doesn't actually know Whisper? Which, I mean, I guess it would make sense, if we believe that Tangle doesn't really talk to Belle, and the first time Belle joined the restoration was the only time the two have ever talked. And on top of that, we also would have to believe that Whisper has done nothing in the restoration all day except mope inside of her room. I guess Belle and Tangle really didn't become friends after, almost losing their lives inside of that weird tower thing Eggman made. I wonder what Tangle do be doing all day. We know what Belle does, but Tangle is banned from at least one place in the restoration already. I wouldn't be surprised if she was banned from multiple places in there. I guess paperwork with Jewel is all she does? Maybe? Isn't it interesting that Jewel just immediately accepts Tangle's resignation from the restoration? Hiding something from Tangle there, Jewel? Something you're happy about being able to hide from her? Something you might have said to Whisper? Just give me another reason to hate you, bitch. There's a great use of realism for Tangle and Jewel done in this issue. Earlier, Tangle says that she wanted to quit the restoration, but she backtracks it upon being able to talk to Jewel about it again later. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision brought on by all of the adrenaline from what just happened. It's a very realistic compromise for Tangle. She seems to have been worried about Jewel not making it as a leader all this time. And it was only after the forest incident that she can now see that Jewel's got it in her to run the restoration. I mean, Tangle's dead wrong, but what I gotta say is neither here nor there with these characters' decisions. Plus, it'd be nice to see Tangle actually participating in the plot again, as well as Whisper. Maybe. I mean, Tangle did say she was going to travel with Whisper, so... This part where Belle is so out of touch with reality and friendship that she doesn't even understand the concept of people putting their hands together as a teamwork trope is so out of character. That's like an entire half of Belle's entire shtick. She's this overly kind, full of friendship robot made by Mr. Tinker. But now you're trying to tell me that suddenly she doesn't understand one of the most iconic teamwork tropes in media? This is obviously some more tier bait interaction to make us go, oh wow, Belle is so detached from people and friendship. How lonely she must be. But that's That's not true at all! IDW is acting like Belle's never had social interaction before, and I don't see how that would make any sense at all. The only way this would be possible is if Mr. Tinker had her locked up in a shed for her entire existence. I mean, if we truly go by how Belle never existed in the last two sagas, that would make sense. But IDW cleared up that Belle was always there a few issues ago. So, what the f***? Tails, listen to me, you geniusly stupid fox. You know damn well you can reprogram all of Eggman's robots to work for the hero side. You've literally done it before. There's no reason that a less advanced robot would struggle more than a more advanced robot in switching sides. In fact, the lesser advanced robot wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. They would just think they're following orders regardless. And if you can reprogram even one, just one single robot, you've already defeated 1/6 of Eggman's entire army. You know they all follow the same code. You don't know how busted the Eggnet is and how easily you can gain control of Eggman's army like Starline did in Bad Guys, but you do know that you can personally reprogram Eggman's robots and gain an army of your own. It's time, Tails! Rise to become the mad doctor you've always been destined to become. This is your moment. This is what you've been created for. Alright, well, that's the end of that little mini story. We even got introduced to some new characters. Kind of. But no worries, because we'll be checking out who these two mysterious figures are when we return to IDW with Imposter Syndrome. So I'll see you cuties in the next mini-series video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, join the Eggman Empire Discord, okay, bye?
Thank you.